Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend. We talk it out from end to end. And if you've got something to share, pick up the phone, turn it up. Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Pierre at the wheel.
Welcome brothers, welcome sisters, welcome to our program On Target. As the clock hit 12, On Target is right at your door. And you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 4420175. We never have a topic. We discuss any issues. A lot of trending issues in the world today. Some people getting fatigued at some of the issues. You're not hearing it much in the media unless you go looking for it. The war between Russia and Ukraine continue. Russia have about 136 million people. Ukraine have 36 million people. It's not a war that Ukraine could win. But with the backing of Europe and other countries, the hope is there will be a ceasefire and eventually a settlement, a negotiated settlement. You have issues going on in Israel that has been fighting for a couple hundred years. There are a lot of countries and people in the world who seems to be a little bit more hostile against the Israelis. They believe that the excesses carried out by the Israelis is unacceptable. On the other hand, they seems not to be complaining as much by the excesses carried out by Hamas. Hamas have kidnapped Israeli citizens and they have them as hostages. And irrespective of effort at peace, there seems no peace. And it's difficult for the Palestine and Hamas to make peace because based upon the Quran, you're not supposed to make peace with Israel and infidels. And Iran, Syria, and other Muslim countries, they claim that the only place for the Jews is in the bottom of the sea. They want the Jews dead. So I don't envy these people. It's difficult to make peace. They don't seem to want peace. They want the complete destruction of the Jewish state. And Israel is also complaining that the United Nations seems set against them. You have also the issue in Venezuela. More and more there seems to be a more aggressive Venezuela against Guyana. Well, Guyana don't have the fighting machinery that Venezuela have. But when individuals believe they are defending the territory, you have a lot of passion. And I guess Guyana hope that it will be supported by the British and by the Europeans. CARICOM countries in a bind. They should be loud and clear in asking Venezuela to accept the decision of the International Court. That is the institution set up to settle dispute. And if you don't accept the decision of the court, then you decide to go to war. So Guyana now perhaps is preparing for the worst. These issues is a challenge. The violence level in the Caribbean is not good. And I watched the situation in Grenada. Although it is not as bad as the Caribbean, when your neighbor house on fire, you should take water and wet yours. I find we becoming a society that is manufacturing antisocial behavior, delinquent behavior, violence. And that's why I strongly believe that all of us should take some stock. You know my position on the government attitude. I believe that the government of Grenada and the principal figure of Dick Mitchell and the Attorney General Claude Joseph has contributed to the increase in violence in this country. Based upon the action, based upon statements they make, their utterances act as a catalyst that increase violence in the country. It doesn't mean they don't cause it, it's always there. Man always have the tendency to dominate and interfere with one another. But those in authority could cool down violence, or they could excite and speed up and motivate people to do violence. And this is the first government post 1983. I believe we are justified in saying that they contributed to the increase in violence in this country. And I would like them to cease and desist. I would like them to stop. I would like them to do a post-mortem. Examine what you have done and make changes. Because I believe the government is too hostile. The government needs to simmer down. They need to take a different approach. But we can't wait for the government to act. We too have to act. And family members in their home, you have some of our young sons and daughters, but most sons, heading for prison. Their behavior on the street is only a foregone conclusion that they're going to get encounter with the law. They're very disrespectful, using a lot of objectionable language, and engaging in acts of great ill discipline. When that happens, you're going to find collisions. You're going to end up with acts of violence, and your sons will be in prison, or they have to go to court. When you watch the group of lawyers we have now, they look as they're just taking your money and plead guilty in front of the court. I am concerned. In yesteryear, defense lawyer in particular used to win one or two cases now and then. You had Foster in St. Lucia, the great Carl Hudson Phillip, Derek Knights, Dud Not Singh, a number of others in Grenada, Heliga, Sylvester, a number of others in Grenada. But these modern day lawyers more seems to be drama artists. And they're going in court and tell the clients to plead guilty after they take $30,000 and $50,000 from our poor mothers. Because some fathers ain't bothering. After they would have spoken to their children over the years, they're not prepared to lose their money. And mothers digging out all the Siankatuka money. They pleading with other members of the family to help them. And they're paying these lawyers quite a sum. Some of the quantum I'm hearing frightens me. 30,000, 50,000, 70,000. And these lawyers taking the money, and I don't believe they're trying at all. When you hear them on the radio, they're sounding as if the person they're defending is already guilty. They're not giving explanation why they're guilty, and they're not defending the case. Cases that you believe, and obviously you know lawyer, but based upon what you're hearing, no weapon is found, person never plead guilty, no empirical evidence, yet individual end up pleading guilty on the advice of their lawyers, and the lawyers well aware that when you go in front of judge 1,000 years, she have no sympathy for the males. The harshest penalty is given for crime. But when these lawyers get their money, they don't seem to care. It's a sad thing. Perhaps it might be better that these individuals show themselves to the mercy of the court and force the judge, because you had no defense, to be more sympathetic to you. But these lawyers seem to be taking your money and sending you in jail, and nobody seems to be concerned. Pay attention to them. Listen to them on the radio and on the media before the case trial. When you finish listening to them, you believe the individual is guilty already. Then they take large sums of money from the people, and the people still go in jail. After the judge makes a decision, he or her decision, they're giving some weak, lame, and shameful excuse. So we have to examine ourselves. If the legal fraternity could no longer be trusted as a body that you could run to, because based upon our court system, a man is innocent unless proven guilty. So the defense have to try to defend you. It's a sad day. I've heard a number of cries from lawyers, from people who believe the lawyers trick them. They take the money, they gave them assurance we had a good case, and on the 9th hour they're telling them plead guilty. So if they have to get 50 years, judge 1,000 years will give them 45. Sad day for our country. That is when I ask about the umpires, the people who claim that they're not associated with any political party and they're neutral. These are not issues that the politician going to interfere with directly. Even if they're uncomfortable with it, they will not interfere with it directly because they don't want to lose the political advantage. But these are some of the things in the society that are going to make people lose hope. I want to appeal to parents. And anytime I say parents, I must add women. And I might sound biased. Yes, I'm biased. 60% of the household in Grenada are led by women. We have a lot of women in politics, particularly in the NNP. Almost half of them political leadership are women. Very experienced, even if they're young. The education system, the majority of people there are women. The police force. This one is remarkable. A significant number of the people in the police force are women. Almost all the ministries. I think we have the majority of PSs, permanent secretaries, are women. The lawyers that are men are few and far behind. All the magistrates in the country are women. So when I speak about children, I generally address it to parents, but particularly to women. This is not a society where marriage is so considered. Woman makes her children, she fire the man sometimes. Sometimes even if the man is still in the home, he cannot squeak. The males, more and more, is becoming domesticated. So women, you have to take the lead where your children is concerned. When you examine the schoolhouse today, particularly the primary school, it saddens your heart. If you have the opportunity to be in close proximity to a lot of the males coming from school, they seem hopeless. They seem heading for the prison and the police station. Something have to be done. And again, women, you that bear that child in your womb, you that answer that call from God, you are the vessels that accept this child. And that child spend more time with the mother in the first 12 years of their life. Generally, the majority of children spend more time with their mother in the first 12 years of their life. The mother is the most influencing person in their life. So you cannot come back and say, no, that is not you. And even when the children go to school, children could go through primary school. A male could attend primary school till he reached 10, 12 years, and he have never had an encounter with a male teacher. The influence and impact of the male teachers in school is diminishing. So the boy go to school, and for the first 12 years of his life, there is a strong probability that he never had an encounter with a male teacher. And those who have had encounter with male, those male look so emasculated and domesticated that they might be confused. There are too much level of ill discipline in our schools. And the teachers say it's not them. They ain't taking no blame. They say it's not them. But I believe that institutions have to come up with answers. In the same way, in our homes, sometimes it's just one woman in a home and some children fighting to eke out a life. Some of these issues are difficult for her to deal with. Sometimes when she has the male, she has to prepare to please and woo and lure the male for a little while. Particularly for the male satisfaction and her economic benefit. That the time doesn't permit her to discuss these developmental issues. But the schoolhouse perhaps should establish think tank or have special session when they provoke discussion on these subjects and encourage people to address the challenges that face. We cannot wait on people from outside. Whether it's the Russian or the German or the Chinese or the Americans. We are an independent country. We have enough people of higher learning here. You have enough people with experience. And we do have success story. So every opportunity we get, we should seek answers to our challenges. Those things have to come from us. And our teachers today are better trained and better certificated than any other time in our history. Our people involved in teaching today are better paid and better treated than any other time in our history. Our people today, a significant percentage of our teachers today have discretionary income. And as such, you cannot blame anybody else. You have to believe that you have the answers to address the challenges that face our young people. You have to believe that. When you look through the Caribbean, the news is not good. One Grenada seems to be deteriorating. A number of the schools expelling the boys. In under 2 years, one young man was expelled 9 times. And he had to change his school because of different location. His mother brought him to a school in St. George's. And after a couple of months, she sent him back with the father. She said, I cannot handle you no more. Go. So he went back to live with the father in the rural Grenada, but he's going to school in St. George's. And he has already been expelled 9 times. In my discussion with him, well, that was his version, so what he says do have to be true. But I thought what he was expelled for was minor. None of them was about fighting. In one instance, he was expelled because the mother went to school with his phone. And she showed the teacher what he wrote to her. He objected to his mother's action and wrote to her, and she felt he was very disrespectful. So she went to school with it. And he claimed, when they was questioning him, maybe they felt he was rude, so they expelled him again. 9 times in 2 weeks. Now he don't care about school no more. Say, I can't keep up because I'm out of school too regular. A lot of stories outside there. And it saddens your heart. And I believe that principals of schools, together with the area education officer, have to do more for the school to be more productive. Already you heard me say that umpteen time, and I'll say it umpteen time again, that 70% of the children exiting our school cannot meet the minimum requirements in school. So when they exit school, they are not competitive on the job market. And the job market has changed. Maybe 100 years ago, agriculture and fishing was the main thing. In today's society, agriculture, I think last 2024, dropped by about 6%. I don't know what is the drop now, but I expect it to drop further. So the biggest contributor to our economy is St. George's University. Over 20% of the GDP. Tourism, remittance from the diaspora, and selling our passports. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am.
Concerning the children's school age, it is a great concern for me too, as a citizen and a parent. I have 2 children. And Mr. Pierre, what I think, and I'm looking at the situation now, that there should be a program, because it's overbearing when you're hearing the problems that are taking place in school with students. There should be a program for parents to teach them what is expected of them, even from pregnancy. When they start going to clinic, there should be a program there to teach them what is expected of them, of that little one inside there. Their duties, their responsibilities. What you would want your child to be. All these things, take it into consideration. And when the child is born, you still continue talking to the child, what you would like the child to be. I am not speaking because I want to speak. I am speaking because I've experienced it with my 2 children. And thank God, I don't have to walk that road. And I pray God that I wouldn't have to, even though they have been tempted. Because they will always remember what mommy said to them. I ain't even saying daddy, you know, what mommy. Because I am the one who had that fetus inside me. I am the one who bear the pain to push it out. I am the one. My breast is the breast that child sucked, not the father own. So the burden is mine to train that child in the way I want that child to go. Our scripture tells us, parents, train the child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he would not depart from it. And if as parents, we take that into consideration, we would never have those problems we have today in school or anywhere with our children. Those things may come their way, but to that scale, escalating, until police have to intervene and then sort of thing, that should not be. Parents is letting down their guard. They're letting down their duty as a parent. What you should do, how you should train the child. Because you have to work to feed the child. And then when the child gets into problem and is in the wrong, you have to pay a lawyer. And I heard you say about lawyer asking the person to plead guilty. Well then, why you taking the money? What you go in there and do when the child has already say he's guilty? The judge or the magistrate, whatever it is, he need nothing else. Because he can say you're not guilty. Who is there to say you're not guilty when you say you're guilty? The lawyer come in and say you're not guilty is just a fake. You understand? Where is the common sense? From the time you tell me to plead guilty, I know you're not for me. It's only my money you want. Where is the common sense? It's about time parents take up the rightful role and train the children. You don't tell the child to fight back. Curse the other one. And in the mother so-and-so are living in a community, Mr. Pierre, oh, God, you're hurting me. From the smallest to the greatest, it's the mother so-and-so and the OG. Sometimes I just wonder if I could just grab that person and shake them. It's painful. From the father to the mother and to the smallest child. When they should be in school, they're at home. Roaming the place. And it's a set of obscene language. And you expect the child to come out good?
Yeah.
When you're not taking the responsibility and they're not sick, but they're not going to school. when a little rain falls, you say the child have cold, they can't go to school. Lie. You getting assistance from people all over. You're not in want. And you're not sending the children to go to school. And when they get into problem, you still want people to help. When you are the one to take up the responsibility.
Yeah.
It's sickening. There should be a program. The government setting up all sorts of program. Nonsense. What they should look into. They're not doing it. Set up a program to train parents, teach parents how they should take their children. What they want, ask them questions. What you would like for your child. What you'd like to see. How you like to see your child grow up. You want to see your child hands in chain all the time. Foot chain, hand chain, like animal.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's sickening. Hence the reason why we have so many children getting involved in trouble. In school is as children, yes, they will have differences, they will have problems. We can escape that. But you don't teach them to fight back. You go to the teacher and you complain. The teacher in turn should have the knowledge, the know-how, the tactic, how to address the situation.
But the teachers was educated. The teachers went to university and have psychology and management and humanities, but it doesn't seem as they have the ability to practice it.
Well, that is where they should be practicing
and
it.
we have to hold them accountable.
That's where they should be practicing it.
Yeah.
You understand? It bleeds me. It bleeds my heart to see what is going on. It bleeds my heart. And when the children have the little dispute, instead of you call your child and you speak to your child, you, the parent, especially as a mother, you're going to intervene, to attack the opposite one. Instead of you take your child away and say, come, let me speak to you. Come, forget that. You understand? That don't call for. Counsel your child in the right way.
Yeah, definitely we need to do these things.
You understand?
Yeah.
But you're going to you want to fight with the next one because they're fighting with your child. No, that is not. What example are you showing your child? To become a hooligan? And at the end of the day, every month you have to be working in the courthouse? When your money should have been going to something worthwhile?
It's just going to enrich the defense attorneys. Yes, scholar.
And they're quick to say, Hamilaya and all them kind of silliness.
Yeah,
Sometimes I don't feel like if I could take a piece, I would have bust the person out.
yes, thank you, caller.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But it's nonsense. But then I will be putting myself into trouble.
No trouble. So we can do that.
I just have to sit down and listen and say nothing.
Yes, sometimes we have to speak about it to provoke discussion.
Just take the opportunity
Yeah.
now, because it's overbearing. It's overbearing. So many innocent children is going down the drain but though they have mother and father, they don't have the right training. And when you, as a stranger, a neighbor, see what is going on, and you call the child aside and you talk to the child go home and say, well, Miss so-and-so tell me that, what they talking to me, effing child for, is me with F out me child, me roll me child out. You understand? You're trying to lead them in the right way, you know. In the right way.
You see, people can give up. The worst thing is when the voice of reason gets silent. You cannot give up. You have to continue to speak. Yes, thank you, caller. Thank you for that contribution.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you have to continue to speak. You can't give up, particularly when what you're saying is the truth. You have to continue. We cannot surrender. We have to do more, and that's why I believe the teachers in the school should establish among themselves think tanks. What could we do to motivate our children more to recognize that education is invaluable? The teachers have access to parent-teachers meetings. Some of them do. And they could bring in motivational speakers for 5 minutes to motivate parents to get hungry for education. Because it's a question that our people is not hungry for education. We don't understand the value or how invaluable education is. So more have to be done at an earlier age to expose your children to the issues of education. One have to relate things. Don't tell me the child don't want education. The child don't know how valuable education is. The parents perhaps don't understand that there must be a hunger for education. There must be passion involved in it. And don't tell me it's not you. You that are properly certificated, you that are paid, you that are trained, you that are institutionalized. And it is easy for you to access more ideas more than the parents. Some parents themselves, they left school 20 years ago and they never opened a book. And the education process is changing every day. And the job market is no longer looking for agriculture workers and workers in the fishing industry. The majority of jobs is at a different level. The service industry, technology, informatics, engineering, people making cardboard drones to fight after tank. So even the subjects that you put concentration on in school could be a deciding factor. It could be a deciding factor. The mechanics today have to know about the computer. If they are not computer literate, how could they be mechanics? Every day the vehicles are changing, a lot of electric vehicles and so on. Computer, data, meters. Yes, meters. Then you have AI. So the children that goes to school today must be computer literate. They must do maths. Show them how practical the maths is. They go to school every day, they buy in the supermarkets, they buy in the shop. They have to deal with money, they have to deal with percentages. They have to pay government taxes. They have to do physics and chemistry. So much of women now want to do hairdressing. Not women alone, you have some dainty man fixing hair and fixing nails. But chemistry and biology is important. Some of them want to make their own mixtures. So the schoolhouse seems too boring. And the discipline is a factor. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
I think what we need right now in all the villages of Grenada, village education officers. Say for instance, the village of Montwich, there should be one village education officer. Not only on foot, he should be a traveling officer. We can go out to the village to see that the children go to school. Say Tivoli, you cut Tivoli and Rivantwine into the village.
The government have choice.
Roselle into another village. Instead you have area education officers. I recommend to the Ministry of Education there should be village education officer. And if you do that, if you do that, you zone the area, you see that all the children go to school. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller. Caller, they already, yeah? Caller, they already have area education officers, and they have something they call truancy officers. That these things started in the days of Gary is still on. What happens? These people are not doing the work. They're unproductive. So they have truancy officers to find out if the children don't go to school. But it appears that these people don't care. The problem in the school is unproductiveness. The average school have a principal. They have a deputy principal. They have a secretary. They have departmental heads. They have cook or cooks. They have cleaners. They have a groundsman. They have 2 security. In yesteryear, you didn't have these things. In addition to that, they have what you call what you're asking for, the truancy officers that work in particular areas. They would go to the school, I hope, and get the list of the children that not coming to school and go and find them. They have somebody for when hormones jumping up in children and they're not settling down. I think they call them counselors. The ministry also have coaches. So it's not that the school is not fully empowered in terms of resource personnel. They're unproductive. And they're blaming. They're blaming the ministry. They're blaming parents. Well, the area education officer, most of them was teachers. The minister of education was a teacher. So in the hierarchy of the Ministry of Education, the majority of them are teachers. Were teachers. The challenge we have here is they're unproductive. They're not producing. And they are not held accountable. So if children is not going to school in Ticolo, the school would know how many children that is not going to school. That information will be provided for the truancy officer. And they have to go out to find out why the children are not going to school. And they have the backing of the law. But it seems that they are unproductive. And the school may be glad when the children don't come to school. What is going on is it could never be right. And as such, maybe about 15 or 20% of the children that is doing well in school. I normally say 30%. But you know I'm very conservative. And 70% of the children that go to school are not able to meet the minimum requirement. And children are expelled for very trivial things. Some boys was expelled from school because when they measured the pants foot, it was found wanting. I don't know if it's supposed to be 14 or 16 inches, and they claim it was tighter. You know, trivial things. Children are sent home for. So it appears that effort is being made to keep those who they consider as troublemakers out of the school. You don't have much groups in the school where children go and hike and defend a different group. You don't have much of that. So the socializing of students out of the classroom is practically non-existent. And if the principal of the school don't good, then you're going to have growing ill discipline, and it compounds the low productivity. And when you add that with a parent that is not hungry for education, you are manufacturing trouble for the future. All of us have to be concerned. Because if the children are not able to fill in the job on the marketplace, they're not competitive for the job, then where the productivity? You have a country unproductive. Then to compound that, we have a government that is very disrespectful, that is hostile that is vengeful and divisive. So in the coming decade, the challenges you have now will grow. It will germinate, it will grow, it will be worse. You have a number of incidents now that is already worrying, but in the future it's going to be worse. When you find people on the job market that cannot get jobs, not because jobs are not available, the jobs are available, but they cannot compete for the jobs because they don't have what it takes. They don't have the skills. They don't have the attitude. When you see a group of young men in a community and the level of obscenities, the gambling, the drugs, the confusion, the stabbing incidents, and like the Prime Minister say, you can't stop the gun culture. Then when you turn, even when these individuals have challenges in court, the court is not tolerant to second chances. So they don't have a second chance. The lawyers are not doing a good work to defend them. The lawyer may want to take them people money and send them in jail. Based upon what I'm seeing and the number of instances I'm hearing about, I don't know when last I hear somebody go in court and get defended in a good way. Unlike yesteryear. So we must not walk away from the problem. And I believe the problems are solvable. I encourage teachers, all teachers, all of you have a phone, you have a computer, research the benefits of teaching music in school. There is a lot of benefits. The architects of this information over 200 years claim there is a lot of direct and indirect benefits for teaching music in school. So why are we not teaching music in school? And I'm not talking about choir. Why are we not teaching music in school? Most of our boys now seems to engage into subjects that they believe is easy. The school must put that in the head. You can't make, you don't, so do what is easy. They does not use that language again. I use the word dunce and bright, but the school also does not use it. They say you're not academically inclined. What do you mean you can't make it? You don't. And then when the parents hear that, it seems that their heart sink. And they say, I cannot make blood out of stone. So you have a group of people that seems to resign themselves to failure. Now, how could that be? I say to people, they tell you your child not academically inclined, ask them to put it in a paper for you. Let them sign it so we could call their name on the radio. What we're doing is wrong. And what is sad, we are doing it to our own people. We have to give our children a chance. We need groups in the school so that the children could participate and socialize in it. You need motivational speakers whenever you have parent-teachers meeting. Perhaps to spend 5 minutes or 2 minutes to try to encourage parents to be hungry for education. We need to concentrate on the subjects that are more important. Some subjects have more weight than others. For instance, mathematics would have more weight than H&M and PE and T&C. There is some abbreviation now. I don't know if I'm calling all of them right. We live in a society where we're very close to Latin America and South America. And because of our geopolitical relationship, which I don't see ending in any short time, our people should be able to speak Spanish and French, particularly Spanish. We live in close proximity to countries with millions of people. Costa Rica, Venezuela, Mexico, Cuba, Puerto Rico. All these places have much more people than us. Our foreign ministers are supposed to be able to lobby that we can access scholarships in these areas. And because we are a small country under 100,000 sometime, even 10 scholarship is significant. So if we prepare our children already and they could speak Spanish, it is easier for them to get training in Latin America and South America. We live in close proximity to millions of people. That even our soca artists and our calypsonians, if they are knowledgeable about Spanish, some of their work and the art could make millions for them in Latin America. We have over 500 soca artists. Could you imagine if these people went to a school and had Spanish as a second language, even a few lyrics in jab music, would have able to make millions of dollars in this country with massive population. We live close to a community that have millions of people. And because of the size and the enormity of their country, medical health, we will be in a better position to access medical health from Venezuela, Mexico, Costa Rica, etc., etc. There is every justification and geopolitical benefit if our people could speak Spanish in school. We have the technology in our fingers, our cell phone, to make it easy. From the time our children is 2.5, that they start to listen Spanish music home and know the names of the Spanish countries and able to count in Spanish. So by the time they reach in secondary school, it will be easier when they are exposed to formal teaching. We have to believe that we could solve our problem. You hear the government making all sorts of talk about blue economy and using all kind of big phrase that they're struggling to explain. But if our children could swim, they'll better understand and able to take advantage of the opportunities for the economic activities in the sea. And that is basically what the blue economy is all about. Taking advantage of the economic activities that the sea and the coastal area could offer. Our schools should have their own swim club, an intercol, in the next 5-10 years should have an activity called swimming. You don't have to have the Europeans or the Chinese come to tell you that. The Cubans don't have to tell you that. That's what we should be doing. We live in an economic age when we're jumping up about the environment. But there are rivers that we can convert to swimways, basin, that our children can swim in it. Even these activities would stimulate our children to be more disciplined, to be more respectful, to value education more, and do better in school. I don't know why we are enjoying this high level of unproductiveness. So I want to appeal to all and sundry who are involved, from our homes, in the community, in our schools, to sit down and address the challenges that face us. The answer must come from us. And I want to appeal to the government of Grenada to be more, provide information for your people. Take your people in confidence. Don't trick your people. Just stop telling lies. Just stop. If St. Paul could change, Deacon Mitchell could change. You could still change and salvage some level of decency and be a good leader. Just stop telling lies. Provide information and believe that we have the answers to address the challenges that face us. Have a little more respect for your people. Stop your arrogance. And we could do better as a people. I verily believe that we could make those changes. You know, we could sit down and discuss this issue. We mustn't be afraid to discuss issue. We must respect one another. And we must discuss issues. Women, you must serve as the facilitator. Sit down, pull your man together and discuss your child's education and development with your man. Sometimes you might just be able to teach your child to blow shell. You might be able to teach him the name of fish in the sea. You might tell him about the current. If in agriculture, you might tell him a number of things you could tell him. We have to do better. We have to do more. We have no fairy godfather or godmother coming. Those who we are aligning ourselves will take advantage of us because we're small. So the answers have to come from us. And we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. And you have an opportunity to change the subject matter anytime you want and introduce anything you talk about, you want to speak about. But I believe we have to address the challenges facing us. Thank you very much.
We keep it sweet. Oh, midday talk and it's crystal.